Hey, what's up, nerds? So, this year's E3 has come and gone, and I just wanted to take a moment to tell you guys what I thought and tell you about all the cool things that were at the show this year, from all the news and the games that were announced, and just share them with you guys. Now, this is by no means like a comprehensive or complete list of everything that was announced. These are just some of the highlights that I really enjoyed and I thought I'd share with you guys. So first up, we have EA's conference, and I thought they did a pretty good job. Overall, I liked it. They had some good games, some good announcements. There were definitely some awkward moments in there. It looked like they were trying too hard, and it just came across as kind of weird. So one of the games they announced this year was Need for Speed Payback, and I'm a really big Need for Speed fan, although the last few titles that came out on the PS3 and Xbox 360, I really wasn't a fan of. They just weren't very good. But this new one, they took a year off to really take their time with it. And that's something that I think is really needed so that they could spend that extra time really fully fleshing out the game. And I have to say, the trailer got me excited. It looked really good. It looked a lot like Fast and the Furious, but that actually reminded me of like Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2, which were some of my favorites on the PS2. So they said this new one's gonna have more customization than any other Need for Speed, but I'm really hopeful that this new one is going to be at least close to that. I'm really hopeful. I'm hopeful that they can get back to their roots and make a good Need for Speed game, because the last few have been really disappointing. The next one that they announced was this really cool looking indie game called A Way Out. It looks like it revolves around these two prisoners who are trying to escape, and basically it's a co-op game that's meant to be played, two-player couch co-op locally. It's designed to be played with a friend, sitting next to you, experiencing the whole game with you from start to finish. So I'm really excited because I'm a big fan of couch co-op, and I feel that that's something that a lot of video games these days are kind of getting away from. I'm very much looking forward to playing this, you know, with a friend, with my wife, something like that. I really like that idea behind that game. I think that's a good idea. The next one that they announced that looks really cool is Anthem, a shared world online shooter from BioWare and the same team that made the original Mass Effect trilogy. I'm really hopeful and I'm excited for this game. I like any game that lets you play cooperatively with friends. I like RPGs, I like shooters, so this is combining a lot of things that I like. So I think, like Destiny, I'm probably going to really like it. However, my one reservation about it is the gunplay. From the demo that they showed, the shooting doesn't look like the strongest aspect of it, and I know that the Mass Effect games were not really known for their strong shooter mechanics. However, I'm hoping that they have at least refined it to where it feels competent. I'm hopeful that they can at least get that aspect good enough that it doesn't become distracting or frustrating. Anthem from BioWare looks really good, and I'm definitely excited for it. And the graphics looked phenomenal. Like, I can't believe how good it looked. So the next one on the list that looked pretty cool was Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, I really liked the first Battlefront, but it was a little lacking in modes and content. And this time around, EA has promised that they're delivering 3 times the content, which is really exciting. On top of that, they've said that there's going to be a full-fledged story mode, which is very exciting because that's a big fan request that everybody had been asking for since the first one. And then the other thing that I thought was really cool and really sold it for me, they're gonna give you all of the future DLC for free. So anyone who buys the game gets all future content updates, vehicles, maps, weapons, all that stuff for free. The other thing that I think is cool is they're making it more comprehensive. It's gonna cover all 3 generations of Star Wars movies. So you're gonna see stuff from the prequels, stuff from the original trilogy, and stuff from the new movies. Yeah, so Star Wars Battlefront 2 is definitely on my top 5 list of E3 games. They definitely sold me with all the announcements and everything that they said about the game. I was very, very excited for this one. Next, we move on to the Xbox conference. And Xbox just nailed it from start to finish. They said all the right things, they did all the right things. Microsoft's conference was just solid from start to finish, and I was very excited. And I don't own an Xbox One yet, but this made me want to go out and buy one. So the first announcement they made was the Project Scorpio, which has now been officially named Xbox One X. And it's a true 4K gaming platform that's going to play Ultra HD Blu-rays, true 4K gaming, which even the PS4 Pro doesn't necessarily do that. It does some upscaled 4K stuff. It's the most powerful console ever built, has a 1 terabyte hard drive, which is a relief because those 500 gigabyte hard drives were getting way too small. And it's the smallest Xbox they've ever made. The thing I liked the most though was the price. They said it's $499, which some people were saying is a little too high to be competitive, because you have, I think, the Xbox One S at $249 and the PS4 Pro is, I think, $399. So the $499 price point, some people were saying, is a little high. But I think for all the power that they're packing into this thing, I think that's a totally fair price, and I'm willing to pay that amount of money for true 4K gaming. Now, one of the first games that they showed off on the new system was Forza Motorsport 7, and I am a big Forza fan. I love that racing series. I wasn't always big on racing sims, but Forza was the first game where I felt like I could figure out how I was supposed to play it. But I've always really enjoyed the Forza series, and I've always liked that I can make the game as easy or as difficult and challenging as I want. And it's that level of customization that has always made that game feel so good. But yeah, the new Forza 7 looks great. The graphics are phenomenal. It's gonna run at true 4K with 60 frames a second. It's gonna feature 700 cars, dynamic weather, a huge track list, just all the stuff that you would want from a Forza game, but just more of it with prettier graphics. So I'm definitely down for that. The next one they announced was Metro Exodus, which is the, I think, third game in the Metro series. And Metro is one of those games where I casually liked it. I wasn't like a big hardcore fan. The concept always appealed to me, and I would play through them here and there, but I don't know that I've actually ever finished one of those Metro games. But when I saw the trailer for this, it was really exciting. It was really dark and gritty, and you know, seeing those giant rats attack the guy, I was just like, this looks crazy, and this is definitely something I want to play. Yeah, that looks like something I can definitely get behind. So the next title that they announced was Assassin's Creed Origins. And Assassin's Creed is one of those series that I never quite latched onto. I liked the concept behind it, but the gameplay was too fidgety for my liking. But Ubisoft decided to take a year off from their usual annual release date. Before, they would just release game after game after game, one a year. And it felt like too much, and the games never quite had the quality where they needed to be. And they were very ambitious games, but that ambition was undercut by their own technical issues. So with Assassin's Creed Origins, I really like that they're taking their time, that they're giving the developers more time to perfect the game. And I'm really hoping that they can get the gameplay where it needs to be. And I'm really liking the setting. It's got this Egyptian setting that looks really interesting. The trailer got me excited, and I'm hoping that the game can live up to the hype that the trailer had. Another game that looked interesting was The Last Night. So this game has a cool cyberpunk aesthetic with like 2D pixel art, but everything's really well animated. So it looks like if your Super Nintendo could just do like Disney quality animation. I really liked the look of it. I don't know exactly how it plays, but it looks like a side-scrolling platformer, but with Metroid-esque stealth and exploration and things like that. I don't know exactly what it's gonna be, but the trailer got me excited. It looked really cool, so I'm looking forward to it. Another one is Middle-earth: Shadow of War, the sequel to the acclaimed Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, which was kind of this sleeper hit that came out of nowhere and surprised everybody. It had this really cool nemesis system where every time that you would beat an enemy, they would basically head back to camp and then recoup, and they would remember what you had done, and the next time you encountered them, they would be stronger and better prepared for your attacks. So the Nemesis system basically kept the characters within the game remembering who you were and how you played, and gave them that extra level of interaction beyond just trying to kill you. The Nemesis system added this extra layer to the enemies that made them feel more alive. So I'm hoping that the new game can take that aspect of it and take it even further and really make that world come alive. The last game that I saw that looked really cool was called Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It's the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, which I haven't played because I don't have an Xbox One yet, but I heard really good things. It got great reviews, and it was basically a game that kind of looked cartoonish, almost deceptively like it was for kids, but it was apparently really, really hard, like a really challenging platformer. From what I saw, the footage of the sequel looks amazing. The character art, the animation, everything about the game just looks phenomenal, and it's gonna play in 4K. I'm really excited for it, even though I didn't play the first one, just based on what other people said about the first one. And then we come to Bethesda's conference, which was by far the weakest of the bunch. Their announcements weren't bad, but absolutely nothing they said really blew me away. Their whole conference just felt like a non-starter. It was just kind of, it puttered around. They showed you some old games that you had already seen before. The real reason we're at E3 is to see new things, and I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of new stuff. However, there was one game that they announced that I thought was really, really cool, and I'm really looking forward to playing. So, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. That game looked amazing, and the first Wolfenstein was really, really fun and was kind of a surprise hit, one of those games that people didn't expect to be as good as it was. So the fact that they're making a sequel to it, I'm really excited about. The graphics look great, the setting looks really interesting, and of course, like, who doesn't like shooting Nazis? So I'm really looking forward to this one, and I'm hopeful that it'll be as good, if not better, than the first Wolfenstein. Next up, we come to Ubisoft's conference, which was decent. They announced a few games that look cool. A lot of the games didn't really appeal to me. They looked like kids' games or whatever that I was like, meh, whatever. But there were a few in there that were some gems that I'm really looking forward to playing. So first up is Far Cry 5. I'm a big fan of Far Cry. Far Cry 3 was amazing. Far Cry 4 was a ton of fun. I really liked playing Far Cry 4 in co-op. Far Cry 5, it looks like it's gonna take all of that core fun gameplay of Far Cry 4 and just amp it up even more. You've still got your co-op, so that looks like fun. I'm hoping that they can do more with the co-op. I'm hoping this time around they'll let you play through the entire game, every mission in co-op. This new one is a completely different setting. Instead of being in some like island or foreign country or whatever, you're right here in America in Hope County, Montana. It looks like you're fighting this religious cult, and I have to say, the new setting looks really refreshing, because I was wondering, like, where are they going to go with the Far Cry series? But this new one I'm really excited about because the setting looks fresh and new and interesting and different. That's what I'm really excited for, is to see something that's totally different. And I don't think I can really think of another game that has this kind of aesthetic or this setting. Another game that I thought looked cool was Skull and Bones. It looks like the developers of Assassin's Creed Black Flag took the fun naval combat of Black Flag and just spun it off into its own game. I don't know if the game has anything other than naval combat. It looks like it's just the naval combat part, but I don't know. Either way, it looks interesting, it looks different, so I'm definitely interested. Anything that tries something new, I'll definitely try. And then they had another trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Now, they had shown some kind of teaser trailer, like a pre-rendered thing, many years ago, and then that game just went dark, and no one had heard anything, and then they finally came out with another pre-rendered trailer. So who knows? I mean, for all we know, it could just go dark again and not get released. But the fact that they brought out something new means that they are at least still working on it. I'm not going to get super excited about it now, as they showed zero gameplay and gave zero details about what the game is, but the trailer looked cool, so I'll give it that. Another one that looked pretty good was South Park: The Fractured But Whole. Now, that game I really liked the other South Park one, the Stick of Truth, and that one was pretty fun, and it sounds like this one is going to take that and kind of change up some of the game mechanics, change up how it plays, and instead of being a fantasy setting, now they're going for like a superhero kind of Marvel DC setting. I'm hopeful that it'll be good. The Stick of Truth was surprisingly good because South Park games in the past have not been any good at all. I'm optimistic that this one will be good. And then we have Sony's conference, which Sony's was kind of weird. Instead of doing what Microsoft or Ubisoft or some of those other ones did, where they would show a game and then have someone talk for a while, they just came out, showed game, showed game, showed game. They didn't really say much. They just let the trailers speak for themselves, which I can appreciate on some level. But I felt like without the context, it just felt like a bunch of trailers that you could have just watched on YouTube. That said, they did show some really awesome games that I'm really looking forward to. So the first one was Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. It's not a full-fledged Uncharted game. It's a DLC add-on to Uncharted 4, but it looks like they're selling it separately. So if you didn't buy Uncharted 4, you can still buy this and play this on its own. But if you bought one of the deluxe editions of the game, then you should be getting this one free. I like that they're focusing on these other characters, Chloe and Nadine, so that looks pretty cool. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm a big1 of the Uncharted series. I'm definitely excited for this one. The next one was God of War. God of War is a series that I've loved. 1, 2, and 3 were great. This new one looks like kind of a soft reboot because it's still the same Kratos, at least as far as I can tell. It's the same Kratos as from the original God of War series, but now he's in this Norse mythology. So now what he's doing is fighting a whole different set of gods. And it looks like they've changed the gameplay. So now it plays in like a third person over the shoulder view. Either way, it looks really cool. The graphics look phenomenal. And I'm really excited to get to play as Kratos again and just start tearing shit up. Another really exciting game is Days Gone. This is probably the one that I'm most excited for of all of Sony's announcements. So it's basically zombie apocalypse game, which I know there's a million zombie apocalypse games, but I'm kind of a sucker for zombie games. And this one in particular does a lot right. From the tone of it, it felt kind of like Sons of Anarchy meets The Walking Dead. It's not like as wacky or actiony as some other zombie games are. It looks like it takes a little more seriously. The threat of death is a little more real. I just liked that tonally it feels different from The Last of Us, or at least different enough to not just feel like a Last of Us clone. But yeah, Days Gone looks amazing. I'm really excited for this. This is probably the title that above all the others, this is like the one that I'm gonna have to pick up. Another one that was really exciting, the announcement that just blew me away, was totally unexpected, was Shadow of the Colossus. So it looks like they're taking the original PS2 game and just doing an HD remake of the whole game. And man, it looks phenomenal. Like the new HD graphics look great, and Shadow of the Colossus was by far my favorite PS2 game. So the fact that they're remaking it, I am just very excited. Another one that just blew me away, and I know I keep saying that, but damn, Sony had a lot of really good looking games this year. Spider-Man. So Spider-Man is being developed by Insomniac, and from what I've seen of it so far, it looks amazing top to bottom. The graphics look great, the gameplay looks really smooth. They showed off all this gameplay in real time, and it looks like you're watching a movie, but you're in control. And if the final product can be like that, if it can play that smooth, then I am definitely down for that. So again, this one's like easily top 5 of the show. Spider-Man looks freaking amazing. And then the last one they announced was Destiny 2. Now, they had already announced Destiny 2 before E3, but they just kind of gave us a little more look at the game itself. A lot of people are criticizing Destiny 2, saying it looks more like an expansion to the original rather than a full-fledged sequel. But I don't really know what people expected from Destiny 2. It looks like they're revamping the interface. They're going to change up the way that you travel to different levels and different planets. They're changing up matchmaking, so now you'll be able to get into raids with other people or find other players easier. Overall, it sounds like they're addressing a lot of the issues that players had with Destiny 1. Now, as someone who played the first Destiny for over 500 hours, I got a little burnt out on Destiny, so I don't know how excited I am to play Destiny 2. But who knows, maybe in a year's time when they come out with like some kind of deluxe edition or legendary edition, I'll probably pick that up when it has all the DLC bundled in there. That I'm definitely looking forward to playing. And then last, we have Nintendo's conference. Now, Nintendo wasn't the worst, because that was Bethesda, but Nintendo didn't really excite me with a whole lot of anything. The whole time I was watching their conference, I was waiting for them to introduce some stuff that would just blow my mind and make me go, holy shit, I have to go out and buy a Switch. They didn't really do that. I saw a few games that I was like, I might be interested in this down the road, but overall, not really. The first one they introduced was Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey has me a little bit worried because they have Mario in this realistic looking world that looks kind of like New York City, and there's like more realistic styled humans in there. And I got really bad Sonic Adventure vibes from this game because I remember Sonic Adventure was the first one where they took Sonic and put him in this weird real world city with real world looking humans. And I was just like, they don't blend, it doesn't look right. And so when I saw Mario there, I was like, oh God, are they going off the rails? I don't know. But a lot of people who got a chance to play it at E3 said that it plays really well and they really liked it. So a lot of people seem excited for this game. So I'm gonna wait and see, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. I hope it's good though. Mario games have traditionally been really good. So with that kind of track record, I guess we'll see. Another one that they announced was Metroid Prime 4. Now for this one, all they did was show the title. Nothing else. They didn't give us gameplay, even a trailer. It's literally just the title. But the other Metroid Prime games were fantastic. Although I think this one's a different developer, so I don't know if it's going to be as good. But I really, really love the Metroid Prime series, so I'm hopeful that Metroid Prime 4 will be good. Another one that they announced but showed literally nothing about was Pokemon. Now, I loved playing the Pokemon games on my Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, but I kind of fell out with those games. But I've always been interested in going back to playing Pokemon. So if they can come out with a full-fledged Pokemon RPG for the Switch, that could get me back into that series. Now, Nintendo also announced a Yoshi game, a Kirby game, Splatoon 2. I wasn't terribly interested in those. They looked okay, kind of kiddie. Nothing that really grabbed me. I think the announcement that I was most excited about from Nintendo was probably Metroid Prime 4, and that was literally just a title. That's about it for E3. Did you guys get a chance to watch it? Did you see any of the coverage? If so, what were your favorite announcements from there? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, you can find me on Twitter at TheBeardOfDeath. And if you liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.